Baghdad. Were you confident in that moment that pulling out was the right thing to do?
No, I wasn't. I really thought that it was important for us to maintain a presence in Iraq.
With me now, Iraq and Afghanistan war veteran, CEO of Concerned Veterans for America, and Fox News contributor Pete Hegseth, and former State Department official Christian Whiton. Good evening, gentlemen. Look, President Obama's Secretary of Defense, Leon Panetta, Robert Gates, also a Secretary of Defense, both of them criticizing Obama's military decisions. Why isn't he listening to these guys, both of whom he put in place? Pete, I'll start with you.
Well, it's a bipartisan consensus at this point. And we've seen through this administration, President Obama is more interested in listening to his political advisors than he is to his military generals. And you're starting to see that now with the battle plan against ISIS. He's laying out front what we're not going to do as far as boots on the ground, whereas you're starting to hear percolating behind the scenes, both those in the administration, Dempsey, outside the administration, Gates, Panetta, Petraeus, saying it's sort of foolish both to play your cards up front, but also to rule it out if you're going to truly seek to destroy. So you're starting to see a wedge being driven that we've known about for a long time.
Pete, the question is, everybody knows we need boots on the ground. I haven't met anybody who says we don't need boots on the ground. If we're not going to partner with Iran and we're not going to partner with Syria and we're not going there, whose boots are going to be on the ground? That's number one. But why isn't the president listening? Does he think he knows more than our military advisors?
You know what? I'll tell you this. For President Obama, Iraq is a four-letter word, and not just Iraq, but it is a place he refuses to want to go back to. I mean, he staked his presidency, even as a candidate before the war, on the fact that he was going to end the war in Iraq. He wants to continue to say, I ended the war. So regardless of the situation now, I think he sees his legacy as a war ender in Iraq, and that's what he cares about. Politics. And so he's trying to do everything he can to maintain that stance.
Christian, what say you on this? Just quickly, why is he not listening?
Well, he just thinks he knows better, and this has been, throughout this administration. Why is Hillary Clinton and now John Kerry able to travel essentially endlessly? Real decisions are actually made in the White House. They're not made out at agencies. And the fact that his cabinet is constantly traveling is part of the symptom that they're just not being listened to. They're not involved. It comes down to Valerie Jarrett. It comes down to Susan Rice. It's really just Obama's very tight inner circle of sycophants giving him ideas, and none of these people have really any experience or any decent track record on military affairs or strategic affairs. Clearly,
but even the generals are saying the Iraqis that, and the moderate Syrian rebels, they can do, they're saying they're not 50% up to the task. But my question is, how do we know who's moderate and who isn't moderate, Pete?
I don't know that we do fully, and that's why there's a lot of people of mixed minds about the training and arming of the Free Syrian Army. Listen, we need someone to be in Syria taking the fight to folks like ISIS, al-Nusra Front, and because we've said Assad's got to go, it's not going to be him. So Congress is looking, and Congress passed a bill to train them and authorize them. But it's not clear, Judge, it just isn't, that these are folks who are moderate or that they're anything more than a shell force. It's not a short-term answer. It's a long-term approach that won't manifest itself in defeating ISIS. So we can't know, Judge.
Christian,
we really can't. And we don't have a perfect track record on that. Do they just show up, Christian, and say, hey, I'm a moderate, and we give them a grenade launcher? I mean, how do we know?
Well, we have an $80 billion a year intelligence bureaucracy, so they sure as hell better know. And if they don't, then we really need to start cutting and reforming that radically. But the go or no go shouldn't be moderate versus, conservative, which is sort of a phony breakdown. It should be whether you're an Islamist, whether you favor theocracy and the unification of mosque and state, or whether you're secular. And you can be a virulent conservative Muslim that I don't want to spend Friday night with, but be a secularist, and we should support those people.
Okay. All right, Pete and Christian, thanks so much for being with us this evening.